We'll have a little peace sign back here from behind the curtain when you have 2 minutes left.
Yeah,
Cool.
perfect.
What's your name?
Catherine.
Oh,
Catherine.
Sorry. You guys.
You didn't introduce us. Did you hear any music?
Yes, I did. I just heard your new song, Marry the Night.
Good.
Are you rolling?
Are we all good?
We are good.
So Canada's had a love affair with you. I mean, I think every one of your albums has went #1 here.
So far, we're very lucky. All the singles have gone #1 in Canada. I'm very grateful. I love my Canadian fans so much, and Canada was always one of the first places to really understand my music and understand my vision and understand the mixture of music, technology, vision, fashion all together, and the performance art element. And I am very appreciative of my Canadian monsters.
And there's been many renditions of Born This Way. I've heard a country rendition. I've heard a Bollywood rendition. Is there going to be any other ones coming out?
There are lots of remixes. There will always be a sort of metamorphosis of all the songs that I do. I wanted to do Born This Way in lots of different ways so that it could translate to as many cultures as possible, and for the breadth of the album. I really pushed myself musically as a songwriter, as a musician on this album to expand the meaning of pop dance music. It's really sort of fantasy pop music, and I'm really excited for you all to hear it.
Would you say that this album is your best yet?
Yes.
For sure?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And what do you think is the main difference between this album and your previous album?
There is a maintaining of the synthetic and electronic quality of the previous 2 albums, but a evolution in the soulfulness of the vocal mixed with the electronicness. It shows much more of my abilities as an artist, both as a songwriter and as a vocalist, as a pianist. The lyrics sort of take you through this journey of the psychology of my life and my belief that birth is not something that happens once. It's something that happens over and over again throughout your life, that you can be reborn, and that your identity is something that you put on and decide for yourself.
I was reading that you said that when you wrote Born This Way, you had to release all your insecurities to do so.
Yes.
What was your major insecurity?
Well, fear. Fear of acceptance, years of being bullied and wanting to feel a part of everything else and feeling like an outsider. And now in my life, realizing that the more positive approach your identity is to put on, in a metaphoric way, as many wigs, as many hats, as many dresses and jackets and shoes as you can, until you ultimately find the one that best suits you. And then honor that image of yourself and project it every day of your life. Be first and foremost married to your own heart and your own soul. This album, in a lot of ways, the religious quality of it in terms of the sonic nature, the Gregorian chanting and the church bells and the organs, it's meant to be a representation of pop culture as religion. Not religion in the sense of the institution of religion, but religion as faith, religion as hope. And the fans are my hope. The fans are my faith. So the album is posturing that pop culture can be your religion. Pop culture can be your way of having faith in yourself, having hope for yourself, envisioning who you are and envisioning your potential and becoming that.
Now, you have a lot of young fans, and I was at your Toronto show when you brought up Maria
Yes,
on stage.
Maria!
So you found her on the internet. You basically made her a household name in Canada, especially. How do you go about finding people? Does someone send you links?
Maria. I found Maria on Twitter. Everyone had been tweeting at me her video, and I watched it and I started to cry. Immediately. I just burst into tears. And it was because when I wrote that song, the intention for me was to inspire as many people as I could to recognize the beauty within themselves and recognize the potential within themselves, even in times of struggle, or maybe not in times of struggle, maybe just as a moment of rejoicing and celebration and a time of happiness. And to see such a young girl understand the implications of what that song was saying, it made me so excited. It made me feel like I was on the right track. It made me feel born this way.
You've also said that you don't think there's a lot of expectations put on pop stars anymore, whether it's songwriting for themselves or performing live versus lip syncing. Why do you think there's such a low expectation these days?
Well, I think there's very high expectations for me. So I don't know that that statement holds for everyone, but if I could be more specific, I would say that I think perhaps not everyone has expected, especially when I came on to the pop music scene, expected to witness a female with such strong opinions. And I have very, very strong opinions about culture, about politics, about freedom, about identity. And I think that that has perhaps been the thing that people have expected the least of me and of many women in particular.
You have some really notable artists on this new album. I've heard Clarence Clements is on this new album. Is there any others that you want to?
Well, Mutt Lange produced You and I, and but other than that, there's nobody else. It's just me. I am the other notable artist, hopefully. But I worked with people that I have admired and emulated.
Well, you're a huge Springsteen fan.
Huge Springsteen fan. And Clarence, his sound is so particular and so unique as a saxophone player to the E Street Band, and having him play on the album in a lot of ways is a symbol of my youth, because I grew up listening to Springsteen records and I grew up listening to Clarence on the saxophone, dancing with my dad in the living room, with my side ponytail, with my mom and my dad. And I remember when I first heard Clarence play on the song Hair on the album, which is about me saying, I've had enough, this freeze my hair, and I'm singing about how my mom and dad used to make me change my clothes or change my hair before I left the house because they thought that I was too crazy. And when I heard his saxophone on that record, and then later on The Edge of Glory, it took me back to such a youthful place. And the album is very revealing in that way. Like I said, it's still got a plastic, synthetic, and electronic and dance quality to it, but there is something that is very revealing sonically about the album. It reveals a lot of my joy in the lyrics and in the melodies, but then on the reverse side, it reveals my aggressiveness and my strength and my darkness in that way. The beats are very hard on this album and very aggressive, and I am very hard and very aggressive in my approach to life. I am a fighter, so the album represents that in that way. But then you have these moments of nuance through the saxophone that Clarence plays, through the guitar that Brian plays, through the choices in the beats and the bells and the chanting on the album. You really start to get to know me so much better as an artist and as a person through this record. Whenever I hear Hair, I just burst into tears. I can't even listen to it. And The Edge of Glory, just hearing him play on that album, on my music, it takes me back to my youth. And in that way, I'm revealing more of myself to my fans.
I was also reading that stars of your Born This Way video, Rico the Zombie. He's from Montreal.
Yeah.
Is he going to be joining you tonight?
On stage?
Yeah.
No.
No?
He could, if you'd like to.
How did you discover him?
Through Nicola. He was one of Nicola's muses for the men's collection for Mugler. And Nicola's in the House of Gaga. And he's also the creative director for Mugler. And I met Rico, and as soon as I met him, I felt that he was, in so many ways, the artistic epitome of what Born This Way is all about. Born This Way is not, I was born perfect, or I was born a superstar, meaning I was born a famous pop singer, or I was born privileged, or beautiful, or perfect. That's not what Born This Way is about. Born This Way is I was born with an eternal, and that is what accesses your inner superstar. That eternal amount of potential that you can at any point rebirth yourself, reimagine yourself. There's a song I wrote on the album called, it's called Amen Fashion Black Jesus. And the song is about wearing out your vision, style your passion. And Black Jesus represents leaving old symbolism behind you, all the things that you were taught to believe, and wearing out a new symbolism, a new vision for yourself, something that some people may not understand or like, or that they didn't learn, but that is now your new belief. And Rico is that for me. He is and was always destined to be tattooed that way. That is who he is. He was born this way.
Well, you definitely are a superstar, and I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone watching that you care so much about my music. I appreciate it. Hello, this is Lady Gaga, and you are on simpatico.ca.
Forbes just named you the most powerful entertainer in the country. You blew out Oprah Winfrey. How's that feel?
That's very nice. Only Oprah is infinitely more important and influential than me. I'm just grateful to have even ever met her, really.
Are you happy when you hear things like that, though, like Forbes magazine and stuff? You're like, does it matter? Or are you just like, oh, that's nice?
You know, what matters most to me is how the fans feel about the work that I'm doing in the music. But it's always really, really nice to get compliments like that. I really appreciate it.
And the fans are going to get to see you on Saturday Night Live this weekend.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And you did some fun skits with Andy Samberg before.
Yes, I did. Andy's so funny, and Justin Timberlake's hosting. So
Right. Have you met Justin before?
I have met Justin before, yes.
And you're going to do, are you doing a skit with him? We heard you doing a skit.
I believe we are.
Are you doing with Justin and Andy, or are you just doing it?
You'll have to watch to find out.
Born This Way is out now, and you have bared your soul. You've given, your lyrics are really important in all of this. You created this album with a theme about being true to yourself. Tell me how you did that, and tell me what that process was like.
I was just really inspired by the fans at the show, and I was inspired by the energy of the Monster Ball and how free everyone was, and so excited about the future and excited about being young and being happy and togetherness. One of my favorite things about the Monster Ball is people come alone. They'll come by themselves and then they'll leave with friends, lifelong friends. And it was so much of an inspiration for me when I made the album, writing the lyrics, writing the melodies. I wrote the whole record myself with my friends, who are my producers, Fernando Red One and DJ White Shadow. And it was this incredible experience, and I just, it's no secret we can talk about. The album leaked on the internet, and to see the fans' reactions and to see and how open they've been to evolving with me and allowing me to just make the music that I want to make, it's like completely like life-changing. It means so much. The world or the public maybe doesn't know so much about me as an artist, which is great. I'm only on my third album now, and Born This Way is about living between halfway from reality and fantasy at all times, which is kind of what you're saying. The album cover, which is me as half female, half motorcycle, it's about the fusion of skin and metal, the fusion of reality and fantasy, the fusion of the real woman with the magic that's inside of me, and in my metaphor of saying the real you and the magic that's inside of you. So the fans are what keeps that alive in me, but what Born This Way is now is our attempt as a community to tell the world magic is not artificial, it's real. Theater is not artifice. Theater is not a joke.
I saw Judas. Do you have a lot of say in that? Like, do you help create that as well? Like the music video thing?
The video, yeah, well, I directed that video. I directed that video with Lori-Ann Gibson, who's so amazing. And I have always written all the treatments for my music videos. You
say on the song You and I, there are only 3 men that you serve in your whole life.
Yes.
Okay, Daddy.
Yes.
That's your real dad.
Yeah.
Nebraska. I'm assuming it's not the state. And
I like the state.
I do like Nebraska. It's cold though. And Jesus.
What's wrong with cold though?
But you know, it gets up.
Well, Boston's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a little
but,
cold. So who's Nebraska? Is Nebraska somebody?
I don't know. You have to listen to the song.
So bad. I will.
I have no relation to the lyrical content of my music. I'm just the vessel.
Gets a government hooker. Obviously, is it a political thing?
It's both. It's a fun pop song. I wanted to make an empowering record about, the women that are some of the most powerful women in history, the ones that were sleeping with the most powerful men in the world, and some of them were being paid and some of them weren't. And I just had this sort of fantasy of what they must have been privy to. I mean, what must they have known about before it actually happened?
I know, and it's creative, very artistic, like the video, and your clothes are. And as a guy, how do you walk? Do you have to learn how to walk? You get an outfit, and you're like, I got to learn how to walk in these shoes?
Well, I'm. Do I have to? No, I'm a professional.
Okay.
And you need to learn how to walk in those.
I did.
They're
exactly. They're logging boots. Walmart specials.
I love Walmart.
So do I.
My album is going to be sold at Walmart.
Good girl. All right. Your outfits are one of a kind. You don't. When I look at your stuff, when I see you performing and stuff, I think Salvador Dali and MC Escher.
Nice.
You know MC. I love those guys.
Yes, I know who they are.
Okay. What do you want to do with your outfits? Where do they all go? Where does all the creativity go?
That planet Goat that I was in the Born This Way video, the government-owned alien territory in space. I just send it all there. It's in a giant archive, just in sort of a centrifugal gravity situation.
Can people buy them, or do you just it's kind of like just there?
No, they'll just always be on my planet.
All right. When you get home, when you're just hanging out, do you ever just like pajamas, just kind of like take it all off and?
Yes, I take my clothes.
All right. No.
Are you getting fresh now?
Another
oh
slap.
my God! I'm gonna smack you.
Good. I know I haven't lost my edge when I'm getting hit. I don't want to lose my edge. No, I think a lot of people, like myself, I see you as a beautiful Italian woman, and I always think, what's she like at home? You know, the hair.
Well, last night it was nice because my album leaked, and I was actually out at a bar having a drink, and when it leaked, I saw that it leaked on my phone, and I looked down, and I just put it away, and I had a few more drinks, and then I went upstairs, and I got a bunch of emails about how much the fans loved it, and I was so happy. And you know what I did?
What?
I just remember I closed my computer and I walked right into the kitchen in my apartment in Brooklyn, which is the same place I lived in 6 years ago. And listen to my New York accent's flying out of my body now. And I went into the kitchen and I made spaghetti with mussels and shrimp in white wine sauce.
Oh,
and I made myself dinner, yeah.
I like people.
I'm Italian girl.
How many people I saw you going? What I took out of the video, again, I'm watching it from a layman's perspective, but like you went with Judas in the end. Is that correct?
No.
You went with Jesus?
Yeah.
I saw the thorns on his head. Who was the guy with the thorns on his head?
That would be Jesus Christ.
Okay, so who did you end up with? I couldn't understand the very end with falling on the floor, but I understood. Like I thought it was like a bad boy, and like the good guy.
Well, the video is a metaphor, and at the very end of the video, I usually don't like to explain myself, but I want to make it clear to you. In the video, what happens at the end is I am, throughout the video, trying to protect and feel the impending doom of the betrayal of Judas, and I'm Mary Magdalene. And in some of the historical Gospels, I did a lot of research and wanted to make an artistic statement about forgiveness. So as Judas is about to perform the infamous Judas kiss, which is when he reveals Christ You're Italian. You
I
should
know.
this.
I was sleeping
My
high
God.
in church.
If I was your mother, I would smack you. I can't believe I had to explain this.
I was here as a kid. I was telling you. I was
So the Judas kiss is when Judas kisses Jesus on the cheek and reveals him as the man who's claiming he's the Messiah to Pontius Pilate. And that is what ultimately led Christ to be crucified. But many people believe that Jesus knew that Judas would betray him, and many others believe that Judas was part of the divine plan, that it was not in fact a betrayal, but he was just part of the overarching destiny of life, and that it was God's will. In the video, I am struggling between my divinity as the woman that's serving Jesus, and my womanity, which is the woman that loves Jesus. In the Bible, Mary Magdalene loved Jesus. I say I'm still in love with Judas. One is a song about ex-boyfriends that I kept going back to, and two, I was relating it to the idea that Jesus and Mary Magdalene still loved Judas, even though he was the betrayer, because they knew that he was just part of the destiny of life. So you are terrible. I can't believe I just had to give you that lesson. I'm Italian, and I'm smacking you for your own mother.
Church in a long
My God.
All right, wait.
You should know that story.
I know,
I can't believe
but
are you Catholic?
Yes, of
you
course.
must be Catholic.
I was confirmed, but I was a bad kid. I was a bad boy.
I'm a bad kid, and I still know the story of the Judas
better
kid.
than me.
God.
I'll watch the video again now.
I'm
gonna watch it again now. I have been healed.
Red wine, some meatballs, and a Bible. I'll tell you. My God.
And you're all about artistry, so we thought we'd hit MoMA and find something that we thought.
Oh wow, that's so beautiful.
How do you get it on?
Thank you.
You slip it over.
Wow. You know what? You know where I would put it actually?
Nice.
Right there.
It actually kind of goes. It's cool. So you liked stuff. She liked it.
I love it. It's beautiful.
I can't pick things out for women.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
Well,
You did a good job picking that out. It's so funny that you did that, because I used to buy presents for my mother at the Metropolitan Museum.
Oh, see.
Yeah. It's a good place to buy jewelry.
Because
They've
you're
got
not
really interesting
going to
jewelry.
see it everywhere.
Yeah, no, not everywhere, and it's like, really nice.